Oh my god. Oh, okay. You're okay. Pretty girl. Your mama's pretty girl. Your mama's pretty girl. You got fingerprints all over mama's glasses. It's very silly. Kia ora te whānau, ko Bonnie toku ingoa, ko Kalisa taku tamahine. Kia ora everyone, I'm Bonnie. This is my baby girl Kalisa. You won't be seeing any more of her than this. She's currently having a cry. And a cry. Today I thought I would go over my pregnancy story. So sorry if we are having any interruptions, but I'm just going to do the best I can. So my partner and I started trying in about like October of last year. So that will be October 2024. I was on the Gestational implant, contraceptive implant in my arm for 10 years. So I had 2 of them, 5 years and then another 5 years. And I just got one out and put the other one straight in. So literally 10 years straight being on hormonal contraception and never had any problems with it. It was a really good experience most of the time. When I had it taken out, I kind of realized, oh, actually, it did sort of mess with my hormones a bit because I had been having some just like personal issues with it, but I didn't realize that was what the problem was until after it was out. But during the time, totally fine. I was like really happy with it. Contraception. So if you're looking for a contraceptive recommendation, I would recommend it. It is really good. Like literally no issues with it in terms of pregnancy scares or anything like that. But yeah, that's not what this video is about. But anyways, I got my implant out in October 2024, and then pretty much as soon as it's out, you're like fertile again. So yeah, we pretty much started trying straight away, and by December, we found out we were pregnant and we were having our first baby. We were super, super excited. We found out like the week before Christmas. We took a pregnancy test that had the faintest line ever. So faint you could barely see it. But I'd taken pregnancy test before and seen nothing. So when I did take it, I was kind of like, hold on, and did a double take. I'll put the clip in here. Okay, I'm about to flip it. I think there might be a faint line. Maybe that's just where the other line's supposed to come through. As I'm looking at it, but it seems to be kind of getting clearer. I'm gonna need second opinions on that. But yeah, well, I was intending on like filming a proper like reaction, but then like because I saw that tiny faint line, I was like, hold up, and then just had to hit and run basically and go and like get everybody else's opinions. But I was at my mother-in-law's house, at my partner's mum's house at the time, and she'd actually told me to take the test and like got the test for me because I was only 1 day late. So I was not gonna take a test until like a week later at least to, because I didn't want to get my hopes up or anything like that. But yeah, she was like, no, we need to find out. So she went and got me a test, and yeah, it turns out it was positive. But because it was so faint, we didn't want to get our hopes up too much yet. So we sort of waited until the week after that, which was Boxing Day by the time, like when we actually took our next test, and sort of officially found out. And that one was positive, and like the line was faint, but it was darker than the first one. So yeah, I pretty much just kept taking tests every few days just to be sure, and they kept getting darker and darker. So yeah, eventually I booked a doctor's appointment, got a test there. At first, it was like nothing had come up, so they said it was negative, and I was like, that's weird because I've had 4 like positive tests in a row at home, and then they were like, oh, we'll just wait a little bit longer, and then literally like a minute later, it came up positive, and they were like, oh, never mind, congratulations. So that was really exciting, and like good to have it confirmed. And then it was the waiting game for our first scan. So the first 12 weeks really seemed to drag on forever because I was just waiting and waiting to see our baby for the first time. And when we did finally get to see her at our scan, it was the most amazing feeling. It was so beautiful. She like was just, they put the ultrasound machine on, and there she was, just on the little screen. It was so beautiful. We were so excited. We didn't know the gender yet or anything. We just knew that we were having a baby, and that they did all the anatomy and stuff, and said she was looking healthy, and looked like she was at the right kind of size for her gestation, because they said, she looked to be 12 weeks one day, and I was like, according to my like app that I was using to track my periods and my ovulation and all that, she would have been 12 weeks one day. So it was pretty crazy that they could see like that it was that accurate kind of thing. Um, so yeah, if you're trying to get pregnant, I would really highly recommend tracking your ovulation and your periods and things on an app or something like that, and going with those days. And if you're looking to not get pregnant and you're not using any kind of contraception, or you're only using like condoms or something like that, then I would highly recommend tracking your periods and your ovulation so that you can avoid getting pregnant, because it works. I mean, as long as you don't have any other complications, it really works. So yeah. Oh no. Oh, Devin. You okay? Oh, my sausage. Oh, you right? Oh, you okay? Okay. Alright, she's still breathing, thank God. That was scary. Do you like my wall of cards? They're from my baby shower mostly. Some of them are from after she was born, but most of them are from a baby shower. And like some of them are like made for me from places that I work at. Well, anyways, the first scan in New Zealand is at 12 weeks, which is the end of your first trimester. So my first trimester it felt really long, but it was actually pretty good overall. Like, I didn't get sick at all, which I'm really thankful for. Yeah, I didn't get nauseous. Well, I didn't get like sick at all. I didn't throw up at all the whole pregnancy. I did get a little bit nauseous and like had like some food aversions and things like that in the first trimester, but other than that, nothing major, and it was very, very tolerable. Thank God. Yeah, my first trimester was pretty easy actually. The only major symptoms, I guess, was I was just really tired, like all the time. Like, I was, yeah, very low energy. I was having naps every day, pretty much. Literally couldn't last through the day without falling asleep. Um, so yeah, I was just pretty tired. Yeah, the food aversions, and I feel like that's pretty much it. Like, I had a really easy pregnancy in general, and that first trimester was probably what felt the hardest, like for the longest period of time, but it really wasn't that bad. Yeah, I think that's literally it. I don't remember having any other symptoms. I probably did have a few, like my yeah, had a lot of growth in the chest area, and those kind of changes that you not necessarily expect, because I feel like people don't talk about it enough, but um, yeah, your body has to obviously prepare to have a baby inside and to feed one. So when it came to the second trimester, that was definitely the easiest trimester. Literally, the only symptoms I had really were growing. Like, my belly got a little bigger. It still didn't get that big. I started to get a couple of stretch marks. I didn't get very many at all in the second trimester. Um, Kept growing elsewhere as well. That's pretty much it. I feel like I'd stopped being nauseous. I had a lot more energy, which was nice. Definitely had a bit of the nesting going on. Um, yeah, the second trimester was very simple. Like, just kind of carried on with life. It was good. I actually really enjoyed being pregnant in general. So yeah, that was definitely my favorite trimester. It was like the easiest. Um, but yeah, my whole pregnancy in general was pretty simple and straightforward until the very end. Even then, it could have been worse, but yeah. But yeah, we got our next lot of scans. So we had, I think we ended up having 3 or 4 more scans because you're only meant to have 3 sets of scans standard in pregnancy in New Zealand. So you get your 12 week, I think you get a 16 week and a 24 week, something like that. Um, and then after that, like they're kind of just too big. You can't really see much going on anyway. So you really only need those if there's something going on medically, um, or you have any other concerns. But generally speaking, you get those 3 scans. I'm not 100% sure on the weeks, but roughly that. So yeah, at our approximately 16 week scan, we got to see her again, which was really nice. We got some nice scan photos. Then they wanted to do a detailed heart scan because we've got like some heart conditions in the family, so they wanted to be really certain that everything was going all good. So we got another scan for that. That one was a bit intense. By the way, if you're pregnant and you haven't had your scan yet, you should know it does kind of hurt. Like they kind of push around pretty hard. So that's a bit uncomfortable. Like it looks really nice and sweet and beautiful, and like all the videos that people take, it's not really. It's kind of uncomfortable and can actually be sore, especially because they make you um, like arrive with a full bladder, so they're like pushing real hard on your belly with this like basically imagine using a roll-on deodorant on your belly really hard for an hour or for 45 minutes or something like that. That's kind of what it's like. So yeah, but you get the really nice photos of your baby, and you get to see how they're doing okay, and see all their little organs and all their little body parts and stuff. It's very cute. So it's really worth it, but it was a little bit uncomfortable. And the heart scan was by far the most uncomfortable one because she was not in a good position to see the heart. She was fully head down in my cervix pretty much the whole time. It took a lot longer than the other scans that we had, and I ended up having to go out to the waiting room and like wait 20 minutes and then come back and try again because like she just wouldn't move and wasn't in a good position. So yeah, that was a little frustrating and definitely a bit tiring, especially at that point in my pregnancy. I was kind of like a bit over it. And I think I was a little bit sick as well. I feel like I had a cold. I remember needing to blow my nose a lot. um, so yeah, that wasn't the most ideal, but we got the scan. Her heart is perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with it, so thank goodness for that. It was worth the whole ordeal just to make sure that she was healthy. Um, but yeah, just a heads up if you're expecting to have a baby. Yeah, it's not as beautiful in practice as it seems in theory. In the next lot of scans, we had to do 2 for that one as well. I feel like I can't remember why specifically, but we went to do 1, and then they wanted a follow up for some reason. I feel like it was to do with the brain. They wanted to make sure her head was like you could get, again. She was head down in my cervix, so you couldn't see anything. So they needed to double check on that as well. And that was the one where we saw we found out the gender. Um, so the first time they looked and they said, I think it's a girl, like not 100% certain because like they couldn't really get a really good clear picture, but um, they were pretty sure that she was a girl. So when we went to the next one, the follow up, we asked them to check again, and they were like, "Yeah, pretty sure it's a girl. Like, don't see any boy bits." So, and they kind of they when it's a girl, they can sort of see the parts, but not really well. But if you can clearly see that there are no boy parts, then that's a pretty good indication. Um, but that's how you can sort of get false girls. But yeah, they were pretty sure. And then yeah, that was pretty much the end of the scans and the second trimester and stuff. And then we got into third trimester, and that was a hell of a ride. So another thing, when you're pregnant, you have to do a lot of blood tests. Like they stick you with a lot of needles, and they take a lot of blood at once. So I had to go do my gestational diabetes test, and among other blood tests at the same time. You had to take this sugary drink, which tasted just like lemonade, but it was so fizzy, and I don't do fizzy drinks. And you have to scull the whole bottle pretty much within like 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something like that. And it was it wasn't a big bottle, but oh, it was hard, man, because I don't do fizzy, so it was like hurting my mouth, so I couldn't really um, drink it fast, anyways. And then it was making me burp heaps, which is just not ideal. This is not what you want. And it was literally like 8 in the morning, so I was like, this is kind of a lot to start the day. But yeah, I took my gestational diabetes test, and they, gave them all the blood they needed. They had to do a urine sample as well, and I think I just swabbed too. There's a lot going on that day. And they pretty much said, like, no news is good news. Your midwife will call you if there's any problems. But yeah, good luck. We'll see you next time. And then a couple of days later, my midwife called me, and I was like, oh no, this is not good news. Because she wouldn't have called me if it was. And then, yeah, she called me and was like, yeah, so you have gestational diabetes. And I was like, no. Because I'm kind of a sugar fiend, and I really love chocolate. So yeah, I was pretty gutted, to be honest. Like, I wasn't, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Nothing you can do about it, other than what they tell you, pretty much. You can't fix it. You can't make it go away. The only thing you can do is behave yourself and do what you're supposed to do until the baby's born, and then hopefully it'll go away. But when you have gestational diabetes, it does put you at a 60% higher chance of getting type 2 diabetes, which, that would suck. So I haven't had my retest yet to find out if I have that, but I hope I don't. Yeah, fingers crossed, no. But yeah, so I ended up having to have all these extra tests and all these extra like doctor's visits and phone calls and things to, you know, figure it all out and manage the diabetes. And like I had to do a food diary for a couple of weeks. I was supposed to be eating vegetables with every meal, carbs with every meal, and like monitoring my blood sugars. I got a glucometer, which is like a little finger prick machine, and the thing that tests your blood. So to do that 4 times a day, which is not fun, let me tell you. Having to prick your finger every single day, 4 times a day, is not a good time. So yeah, wouldn't recommend it, but it is what it is. It's not like the world's end. It's not like really sore, really painful or anything, but it's very inconvenient, firstly. But it's also just, when you know that it kind of hurts, you just like wince every time. Sometimes it hurts more than others. Like, it's just not fun. I did end up having to take medicine for it. I didn't have to have insulin, thankfully, but yeah, I had to take these pills one in the morning and one at night, with like breakfast and dinner or something. And then made my tummy hurt for a couple of weeks. So yeah, I had a bit of a sore stomach for a couple of weeks, which was not fun. To the point where at one point I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'll just take the insulin. Like, but yeah, thankfully I stuck it out because it did get better, and the pills worked really well. To the point where I could actually eat some sugar and still be fine as long as I took my pills. I couldn't go like crazy or do as much as I used to. But I could have some sugar and be okay. So, it was worth it in the end, but it was definitely a bit hard. It was pretty hard work, to be honest, and I got a bit slack with it towards the end. Like, just kept forgetting to take the pills, or I'd keep forgetting to do all of my blood tests. So thankfully, it all worked out okay, and baby was healthy, and the diabetes didn't go too crazy or anything. But yeah, not a fun time. I'll have you know. Had to really go hard trying to find sugar-free snacks and like chocolate and lollies and things like that. I had to eat really super dark chocolate if I wanted to have anything that wasn't marketed as sugar-free, which is fine because it meant I didn't eat so much of it. I like dark chocolate, but I don't like really super dark chocolate. Like, I'm talking 82 to 90% dark. It kind of just tastes like dust. So you don't want to eat too much of that. But yeah, that was definitely the biggest damper on my third trimester. wasn't ideal. Third trimester was by far the hardest trimester for me because there was just a lot going on at that point. I wasn't that big, but I felt big. I had lots of stretch marks, which is fine. I wasn't that worried about it. Um, but I did start getting sciatica pain. So that's like a shooting nerve pain that goes down like your back or your legs or your bum. And I got it in my left and my right side of my back to my thigh. And oh my god, it hurts so bad. I could hardly walk sometimes. Like I would literally be barely making it down the driveway to get in the car. It was just so painful. So yeah, wouldn't recommend that. That was not a fun time. But it wasn't like constant. So yeah, and it didn't really hurt when I was like sitting down or anything like that. It was more just when I was standing up and walking around and stuff. So I did a lot of sitting, and then that cleared up. But then I got pelvic girdle pain, which is not very fun either. You can look that one up for yourself. Didn't enjoy that. Um, and I just had like sore feet. My feet were real swollen. My ankles were real swollen. My calves got pretty swollen as well. Like it was pretty much like not even cankle. It was like my calf all the way to my toes, which is about the same size the whole way up. So that wasn't so fun. I couldn't fit my shoes anymore. I had to wear my slides all the time. I'm still only wearing my slides just because they're a bit more comfortable and the weather is a lot warmer now as well. So I don't really want to wear sneakers anymore. But yeah, that was that was a bit hard. Had some like foot baths and things to try and help, but I don't know if they did much to be honest. But it did help me feel a bit better. So yeah, that was worth it. But yeah, other than that, up until probably 37 weeks, I'd say, really good pregnancy. It was just the diabetes and then those bits of pain that were not so fun. The swelling wasn't really a big deal. I wasn't that worried about it. As long as it wasn't like a health problem, it was fine. And my midwife kept an eye on it, but wasn't too concerned. I did in the last couple of weeks had to go get a preeclampsia check because I had the swelling. I had a few high blood pressures and I had protein in my urine when I did a urine sample. So they were like, that's 3 signs. We're just going to send you to the hospital to get a check. So I went to Christchurch Women's and got that checked out. It took ages, but turned out everything was fine. I was all good. So no preeclampsia for me. So thank goodness for that, because that's very dangerous. So I'm really thankful I didn't get that. The one thing that was really the biggest issue for me, I got a very rare pregnancy-related rash called polymorphic eruptions of pregnancy, or there's another name for it, and the acronym is PUPPS, PUPPS. And oh my god, it was awful, and I'm still going through it because it can sometimes take up to 6 weeks after birth to clear up, and I'm currently 3 weeks postpartum. And oh my god, it was just awful. It still sucks, but it was really bad when I was like heavily pregnant. So it started on my stretch marks. I had all these red lumps all over my stretch marks and it was super itchy. And then it just spread. It spread all over my belly, got on my thighs, on my back, on my arms and legs. It was just awful. Like, so uncomfortable, so itchy. Eventually I was scratching it to the point of bleeding, so I had scabs as well. I had to take steroid cream and hay fever medicine for that, and like it did help, but it was still just really, really uncomfortable. Even when I was in labour, I still had the rash. So all my like first photos with my baby, I've got scabs all over my arms and stuff, which is real cute. It is what it is. All worth it to get her here. So yeah, but it was a rough time, I'll tell you that. And it's still going. My legs are really bad at the moment. My belly got really, really bad after birth, and so did my backside in general. Because I had to be in bed for a couple of days, and they make you sit on these pads, like basically poppy pee pads, to catch you bleeding, so you don't have to wear like underwear and things when you're sensitive and sore and all of that. Yeah, it was it was not fun. It got really bad. I ended up basically getting a nappy rash as well from just, you know, sitting on these plasticky pads for a couple of days, and being real sweaty and, you know, just uncomfortable. So yeah, it wasn't fun. Um, Now it's pretty much just my legs and feet that are really bad, and I've got some lumps on my fingers as well, which are quite itchy. So yeah, it's been a bit of a rough road. Thankfully, literally my whole first and second trimester were a breeze. So I will take all of what I got over vomiting every day, especially the like hyperemesis or whatever the one is where you literally are sick for like your whole pregnancy, and you know you can end up being hospitalized from being dehydrated from vomiting so much. Like I will take what I got, all of that, over even a few months of that. So you know it could have been worse. I really hate being sick. So yeah, I was pretty stoked to not throw up the whole pregnancy. So yeah, I'll take the diabetes and I'll take the rash over that. But oh yeah, it was still not fun. But in general, I really did enjoy pregnancy. I would, like, as soon as I'd given birth, pretty much, I was like, oh, I'm not pregnant anymore. Like, I got a bit sad about it. I was stoked, obviously, to have my baby, and that was way more important to me. But yeah, even now, I'm still kind of like, oh, you know, there's no baby in there anymore. I'm not pregnant anymore. Like, I'm just me now. And yeah, I genuinely loved being pregnant. I loved feeling all the kicks. I thought that would freak me out a bit, especially when you can see them. But I actually loved it. It was very reassuring, firstly, but also it was pretty cool. And you know, I was just like, what's my baby in there? Like, I don't know. I suppose it's different when it's you and it's your child. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I actually loved being pregnant in general, so I'd highly recommend it if you want to have kids and you know you're thinking, oh, I don't know about pregnancy, you know, but worried about it. Fair enough. There's lots of things to be worried about, and there are lots of symptoms that suck, but it's so worth it, firstly. And, you know, you could have a good experience. Like, I had a really, really genuinely great experience almost the whole time. And even the things that did suck weren't that bad. Like, the gestational diabetes could have been a lot worse. Um, the pain wasn't that bad. Like, it was sore, but it wasn't, like, shattering. Like, you know, I could still work and carry on about my day. I just had to be gentle on myself. Um, and yeah, literally the only symptom that I wish I didn't have was the rash. That was really terrible. Would not recommend that. And that's a super rare condition. Like, it's only seen in like 2% of twin pregnancies. So seeing it in a single pregnancy is like really, really rare. So, you know, you're probably not going to get that. If you are worried about getting pregnant and worried about the symptoms that might come with it, just know you could have a really awesome experience. And even if things are tough, you still might love it. Like my mum got sick, but she still loves being pregnant. So you know, it's worth it in the end. Get a beautiful baby. Um, and as much as it is hard not getting enough sleep, and it is hard constantly having to be on somebody else's schedule, and like you know, breastfeeding can be tough and all that stuff. It's so worth it. Like I wouldn't trade it at all for anything, like in the whole world. Even for an easier pregnancy. Considering mine was pretty good, but up until the last few weeks, it was very easy, and then up until the third trimester, it was a breeze. So, yeah, would really highly recommend it if that's something that is something you want to do in your life. Do it. You know, when you're ready, do it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Hope I didn't ramble too much. I probably did, but I hope you found it interesting and entertaining, anyways. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you subscribe and leave a comment and like the video. And I will see you in the next one. Ka kite.